Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Festa, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Saturday, April 18th. Wow, look what's gone on this week. Disclosure is picking up in ways, well, we've been waiting a long time for this, folks, so let's get to it. Let me go ahead and welcome in the audience and see who the heck we have out there. Before we get this show on the road, let's welcome everybody in the chat in. Who's out there? Let's say, take a look and see. Not a lot of people in the chat, but you know what? Either way, I'll take it. We got Evan B's out there along with Firefly. Gene Stickles in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. We got Geraldine Durazio. Dan Larev just popped up. We've got I'm Sully. She's Boo. Good to see you, too. We got JJ out there along with Kathy. King Bull's out there along with JJ. We got John Geldhill. Who else we got? Let's say Kathy just showed up. And King Bull and Lou's out there. Good to see a different Lou, but that's fine. Let's welcome in Metal Gaming 420. Good to see you, my friend. Mystery Media is in the chat along with Nathan Forrest. We got Prison Films US, Sam, Scooby Dooby Gooby, Randy Robert John just popped in. Good to see you, my friend. We got Stephen Forbes, Scott Jensen, 1971. Good year, my friend. Supercharged Land Cruisers out there along with Sweet T711. We got Venthril. Good to see you, Ben. Who else? Anybody else? Who farted 420? And of course, our dear friend, Yellow Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy. On that note, let me say those three magic words. Mike, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Thomas. It's going to be a hell of a show for our international audience today. We have a lot to cover.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the stuff that's been going on today, and we're going to do a look back at all the shit that's gone on all week because it's been a doozy. Wow.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, it's happening. Gotta thank Luna. Well, she's on the top of the list right now for something. We have a post here coming to us from UAP James over on X. We got a short clip of her talking about her 46 treasures that are on their way. So, believe it or not, let's jump to it. Here we go, folks. Let's play the clip. Here we go.
The fact that the president is pushing for transparency is something that most people in the United States are very curious about. Just goes to show the differences between this administration and every single one previously. And so I'm very happy. We had actually requested 46 documents specifically that the Department of War seemed to have lost our paperwork on. And then we did reach back out to them. Secretary Hegseth, of course, have been great on this issue. And now with that announcement, we're getting those documents. So I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, they actually cut out the newscasters. Good questions. I'm going to have to go find the other clip of this that I've got. Yeah, great questions coming across. But, Mike, there you go. The 46 quote-unquote documents are the videos that Luna has requested, and sounds like things are moving forward with the Trump administration. History in the making, Mike.
If he follows through with the promises that he's made, I would agree. But until we actually see it, all those files, I'm skeptical, Thomas.
Well, that's our, we talk about stuff's coming up. You see where it is. Hopefully it gets there. What's the old saying? Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Don't celebrate.
Absolutely.
Don't celebrate now yet, folks. Although we've got news and everything is pointing in the right direction, setting ourselves up for, we're going to get everything, could set us up for a fall again. We've learned those tricks going back to 2021. We had all these promises about disclosure from the federal government, but yeah, just didn't want to happen. But maybe now.
We've said it for years on the show. You tell the public all the time, don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
Wait to see what comes. And you're right. So we'll have to wait and see what we get out of all this. I'm hopeful about it, but skeptical.
Yeah. I mean, even Joe Murgia, he's known not to like Trump.
You're right.
But he's got, oh boy, true blue. I wonder if he has blue eyes too. If not, probably does. Let's get into this. Where is this
I think his dog had blue eyes before he passed. Yeah.
I want to get. All right. So here's what even Joe Murgia said about this. Sorry, but this is not clear at all, Rep Luna. We're getting the 46 videos, or are we getting the documents Trump mentioned yesterday, or are we getting some of the 46 videos? She seems to be connecting the request for 46 videos with what Trump said yesterday. Warranted, but I believe Luna, in one of the clips we played yesterday, even talked saying that she's going to be reaching out to Hegseth directly. Apparently, they have some kind of a friendship that goes beyond their potential roles, allowing her to get to him how she wants.
Here's the thing, though. Hegseth doesn't have the ability to declassify any of these videos. Only the president.
Right.
And until the president does that, doesn't matter what he or she says, until we actually see it in hand and get those videos and that information, it's nothing. It's just talk.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
All talk.
I wish that was the case.
The proof is in the pudding, I guess.
Yes,
Another
sir.
old one. Yeah. We'll see where it goes. Hopefully we get something which is more than we've gotten before, which has been a whole bunch of fucking nothing burgers.
Right. Repeatedly.
You know, that's what they need to do. They need to bring what do you call it? Trump a Big Mac and give it to him without the meat and say, here's your burger, sir. He's like, where's the meat? It's like, well, yeah, of course. All right. Interesting piece since we're talking about Trump. Actually, this goes back in time. It was reposted again today. This is back in June 27, 2025. But this is about Grush and him briefing the president and some funny comments the president supposedly said going to the people in the space this came from. So I don't think I remember this one when it happened. But you know what? Let's go ahead and take a listen in. Let's get this up here. Actually, there's nothing really on the show.
We just got a super chat from Scott Jansen, 1999 pounds. To the show.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Scott. And thank you also for reminding me to go ahead and put the auto chat up. Yeah, times are hard in the UK. Appreciate it, my friend. Yeah, Starmer is a wanker. That's
on his way out, hopefully.
Yeah. The only way they're going to be able to get that guy out of office is if he has a health issue and he meets an untimely death because of his health issue. Because he's not going to resign no matter what. They're going to have to kick him out screaming and crying.
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
Or fall backwards out a 6-story window like would happen in Russia.
Yeah, but those were the oligarchs.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so let's play this clip here. Let's get to it. Let me find where. And all right. Well, yes, it's from that one space. Burleson's there. At least we can hide the other space that's there, a face that's there. Let's go ahead and play this audio clip of Burleson talking about a Trump briefing that happened back last year. Here we go.
He says some of them that there are aliens that are crossbreeds living in the world. And I asked him, I go, okay, do they know that they're a crossbreed? Or do they, like, how would you know that they are a crossbreed? And he didn't have an answer for that. Like he didn't know if they knew what, but he said that the briefings he's had talked about them. And he said when Trump was briefed on this topic, because Trump finally had a briefing and he was in the middle of impeachment, like he was in the middle of being impeached. So he's going through that. And then he had like this existential briefing that just kind of rocked his worldview. He joked in the briefing whenever they said that there are these half breeds. He joked that Adam Schiff must be one of them. And so,
yeah. Oh, there you go. A goodie, but an oldie, Mike. We all love Shifty Schiff, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little skeptical with that statement. If he was facing impeachment and he had access to that information, he would have released it publicly and fucked everybody.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, but this is before the impeachment. This is in his current role as 47. It shows there's no love between it. Okay, I saw this video. This is the kind of shit that they're putting out there and then trying to pass as real. I just have to get it out there just because it's hilarious. This veteran filmed footage from Area 51 and says the confidential matters are rapidly becoming open due to the President Trump's inauguration.
I'm at Area 51 right now. Check out this baby. He's been here for almost 70 years. Thanks to Donald Trump, this is no longer a secret. Let me switch to the front camera and show you this wonder. It's not even made of metal. Scientists say it's something else, but no one can say exactly what. All right, that's it. I'm at Area 51.
There you go. Old people got to have fun too, my friend. What do we got coming up next? Yeah, we've got a clip here coming up next of, there's a lot of stuff going on here, folks. Holy cow. The next one, Rudy Giuliani. You remember Rudy, don't you, Mike?
Very well. Yeah.
Yeah. So not Representative Rudy Giuliani put this one out there, saying that how did that get screwed up? Representative Tim Burchett on UFO declassification. I don't like going into a meeting. An unelected bureaucrat tells us that the president is on a need-to-know basis, especially, though, he left out the part about that guy being with a man bun. So let's get to this clip here of good old Mr. Burchett, Representative Burchett, talking about this. All right, here we go, folks.
You got to realize that you have an object out there in the ocean that hovers, above the ocean in the air, that hovers for, could be hours on end. We have nothing with that capability. You have to you'd run out of fuel. And then when they take off, they just, maybe straight up, and the power to do that is something, the energy it'd take to fuel Los Angeles. I mean, it is that incredible. And I just don't see any reason why our government should be hiding it. And I don't like going into a meeting and an elected bureaucrat tells us that that the president is on a need-to-know basis. To me, that should be very telling to America that there's a lot more going on with this behind the scenes than we're aware of. You got to realize.
Yeah, Mike, this is a really good point. The president's on a need-to-know basis. Now, this goes back to, we've talked about this many times here on Disclosure tonight, that we're dealing with a situation where, like you said, the president is on a need-to-know basis, which would mean potentially there is another part to the executive branch, right, that survives from administration to administration, overseeing what's going on with UFOs. Now, take in mind, Mike, this isn't just one branch of the executive branch. Multiple trunks or multiple branches are involved to go ahead and deal with the cover-up. I can't wait to see where all this is going to go.
Oh, you mean Susan Gore, who survives regardless of who the current administration is, either Republican or Democrat, and she seems to hold her office regardless. That would be one example. But listen, I have an answer for the need-to-know classification problem. If the president writes an executive order, any requirement for need-to-know goes right out the fucking window at that point. So it wouldn't stop him from releasing this information if that's what he's setting out to do.
Yeah.
Regardless. You and I both know that.
Oh, I would think so completely, Mike, without a doubt. It's just the deck of cards we're all playing with at this point, and it's always good to, see where it goes next. Now, did you hear, they said the Strait of Hormuz was open?
Yes.
And one of the negotiators said, yeah, we're open. We're good. We can deal with again. I guess there was a tanker from India with Iranian oil that was going through it, and they blew it up, taking out 2 million barrels of oil.
Who blew it up?
IRGC.
The IRGC blew up an Indian tanker with Iranian oil on it?
Yeah.
So why would they blow up their own oil? Doesn't make sense, does it?
The strait was closed, and if they weren't going through the particular channels they want.
So if they didn't pay the toll that the IRGC wants all the ships to go through to pay.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like the complete Iranian government is in total chaos.
Well,
one hand doesn't know what the other one's doing.
Well, it's kind of like they chopped up the snake into a whole bunch of little bits, and they all grew heads back.
Yeah, but there isn't one head in general running the whole thing. There's different heads fighting with each other.
Right, because they all think it should be gone in a different direction.
Well, we have a blockade up at the Strait of Hormuz. Why didn't we shoot down any of the incoming ballistic missiles or drones to prevent that from happening?
Do not know that, Mike. We'll have to figure that one out.
I wish we did.
Yeah,
we will.
I know.
Artemis.
Really, this has got a watermark on. Why did they do this? Okay.
Show note. On that, the 2 Indian tankers were attacked by Iranian speedboats, essentially. I hope they didn't make it back to wherever they came from. I would think our Navy and Air Force probably saw to that, but it does say that they were attacked but did not blow up. So I just want to throw that out there.
Sounds like things have been changing. All right. Well, you know, when UFOs get brought up and conversations start to happen, we've got a video clip coming in here. Avi Loeb is making the rounds again. They're telling him to be careful. But I have a feeling he wouldn't be on the list of scientists they're going to take out, though.
Oh, absolutely not.
They wouldn't be doing us a favor.
They would. No.
Oh, they would be. All right, so let's go ahead and play this clip. Here we go, folks, coming to us from Newsmax. All right. Little bit bigger, go full screen. All right, here we go, folks. Enjoy.
Artemis 2 officially home, making that splashdown landing in San Diego, but the buzz over space, it's just getting started.
Oh, really? So the President Trump, rather, is promising some, quote, very interesting documents related to UFOs that will soon be released.
As you remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena.
For more, let's welcome in Professor and Director for the Institute of Theory and Compilation at Harvard University, Avi Loeb. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been at the forefront of the search for these extraterrestrial life. I mean, what do you expect to hear from the president? This was a big tease here.
Thank you so much for having me. Indeed, President Trump rejuvenated the space exploration through the successful Artemis 2 mission recently. He's also ushering in the new age of artificial intelligence. But the third frontier, which may be more significant than the other two, is the possibility that we might be visited by some extraterrestrial technological civilization. And we don't know if that's the case, but the way to find out is through the data that was collected over the years by the US government. And the intelligence agencies, the Pentagon, are saying they have objects they cannot really figure out. And I very much look forward to that data. Yesterday, I had a visit by Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna to my office at Harvard, and we discussed with her the latest findings of the Galileo project that I'm leading, where we monitor millions of objects in the sky, trying to figure out if any of them is non-human made. And I very much look forward to the data that will be released from the White House, and I will analyze it as soon as it comes out.
I mean, this is huge. Doctor, what kind of changes on society could a disclosure?
Quick reminder for our audience. Remember when the the Academy of Sciences, the National Academy of Sciences Ukraine, their astronomy division, went and came out with bombastic findings of UFOs that were being seen over Ukraine for a number of years, using high techniques of using two different cameras, high speed shooting at that from different directions so they could figure out, different locations so they could figure out what's going on in the skies. Remember, Sean Kirkpatrick got up, walked away from his desk, drove 3.5 hours nonstop to supposedly arrive on Avi Loeb's door unannounced. When he went there and talked with Avi, they colluded. And then later that night, if not the next morning, Avi Loeb put out a complete rebuttal against it, taking the findings, which are probably some of the best findings that are out there with regards to two different kinds of UFOs. They have one, the fast-moving phantoms, and then the other ones that were the cosmics. And the science is sound, but when you have someone like him who's basically a what do you want to call a stooge for the deep state to go ahead and try and shut down the truth coming out, yeah, it's a problem. So let's get back. I just wanted to bring up that one reminder about Avi. Here we go.
Like this cause?
Well, it really depends on the details. It's like going out on a blind date. You don't know what will be out there. And we first need to verify that the objects we're looking at are not human-made, because there is the risk for national security from adversarial nations that have technologies beyond what we imagine. But once we do that, we need to figure out how these objects behave and what could explain the way they behave. Maybe they represent science and technology well beyond what we possess. You know, we developed our science and technology only over the past century or so, and they may represent technologies of the future. And that's what makes it exciting. You know, life is a learning experience, and that's what makes life worth living. So I'm really curious to see what the government has. And at the same time, I'm also developing my own data from the Galileo project because, we don't need to rely on the government to tell us what's in the sky. We can just look up.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Lots of anticipation here, but also a sense of urgency because 10 scientists either died or disappeared mysteriously over the last 3 years, many of them looking into things like this. I mean, do you think it's related?
Just like President Trump said, my intuition is that these are unrelated cases. If you look at them individually, you find that families say that what happened to their loved ones was unrelated to the job they held. So, I mean, of course, the suspicion is there were nuclear scientists that were targeted in Iran, and maybe there is some kind of an adversarial nation involved in this. But as far as I can tell, I don't see any clue to that. But the White House is looking into that, and the FBI presumably, including the Director of National Intelligence, will look into that. So I very much trust that they will tell us what they find.
Professor Avi Loeb, thank you for your time this morning, sir. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, how about that? Good old frickin' Avi going ahead once again. And, I don't believe that, but everything else he does. So if we hear something from Avi and he pushes us in one direction, look in the opposite way, folks. Daryl, your hand is up.
Yeah, what I don't understand is why the pilgrimage to see Avi Loeb whenever there's something, there's a question. I see Gene Stickel laughing. I'm kind of curious what he thinks.
Yeah, we want to welcome our good friend Gene Sticko to the show, Thomas, as well. Thanks for joining us, Gene.
Hey, thank you. Been out of sorts, but found this is a good time to jump in. Yeah,
always.
So, Avi's local to me here in the Boston area, so he, pops up quite a bit more than everybody else even gets to enjoy him when these things come up. And, again, it's always one of those things. It's like you got to stay in the lane, right? When Beatrice Villarreal came out with her research, he didn't even look at it because it was, looking at old data and and he's trying to advance the Galileo project to find new data, right? So he wasn't interested in the history of UAP, UFO and what had gone on before or anything like that. As we all know, our friend Ty Roberts, had talked to him and had a very unpleasant experience interviewing him. And, this was during 3i Atlas. And, he came out and said, well, I've got to get my $1 billion out of Congress. So he's doing 3i Atlas. Trump comes out with this statement. Now, all of a sudden, he's the guy who can solve that problem. So I think, he's very much showing himself to be an opportunist when it comes to whatever is potentially going to get him either government funding or let him get some free advertising on the news. And to hear him talk about the scientists and what's going on with that, I just had a little bit of exchange online the last few days with Mick West, essentially talking about the same thing, where he's saying, well, look at the numbers of people who work in classified projects and, 10 of them disappearing is no big thing. And, my counter to that had been, Mike, as you know, right? What's the threshold for the FBI to investigate something that there is some connection to for serial cases, serial killings, serial kidnappings, disappearances? It's only 2 or 3, and now we've got 10 of them, people that worked in the same domains, in adjacent domains. I've done additional research again on the Russian side. I found since 2012, scientists that worked in the same domains as the 10, 11 missing, killed in the U.S. since 2012 have been put in jail, have been died under odd circumstances. And in 3 of those, one case in particular, a scientist who directly worked with McCasland and one of the other missing scientists, And then in 2 other cases with Air Force research labs. So it's, this is beyond, let's say, beyond coincidence, but also definitely worthy, by their own definition, for the FBI to be opening a case to look and see if there are, serial behaviors or serial circumstances.
Yeah.
Well, Gene, I can tell you that it's, as far as the FBI is concerned, it is members of the government, former members, that possess national security clearances and had still active national security information. So just simply based on that alone, they should be actively investigating what happened. It's just simple logic at this point and requirements. And why that isn't moving forward, or we haven't heard anything about it, I don't know. But you're right, Gene, good point.
Has McCaslin even been turned into a criminal case yet? Is it still just a missing person?
Yeah, missing person case.
Yeah. And I just think Avi Loeb throwing his 2 cents into an area that he is totally unqualified to speak about is, irresponsible on his part. And he should really reconsider how he answers that question.
Well, after he blew out Ty's bathroom and then threw a big shit fit over everything with Ty, and that interview never got released because of the insanity.
Yeah,
I think is an indication of who you're dealing with Avi Loeb.
Right, but considering he blew up the bathroom, was late getting out of his house, which means he may have been blowing up the bathroom at his house, and he got there, wasn't in the best of mood. Sound like the guy was dealing with something bad the next day, potentially, that his system didn't agree with. Potentially. But then again, it is Avi.
He didn't get the $1 billion from Congress that he's been hoping for.
Yeah. And again, it's sort of no excuse for the berating behavior for that Ty experienced.
Yeah.
Oh, by no means. But again, it gives you an example of who you're dealing with when you see that type of behavior. It speaks for itself, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah.
It's crazy times all around, Mike. Absolutely. Let me get back into this. I've got since we're talking about the missing scientists, we've got a bunch of news stories about that. People have been talking about what's been going on. Oh, let's see, which one can I find? All right, so this one is a short one coming up. We got a couple stories. This one's from News Nation, from UAP James, talking about those 10 scientists, and it just seems to be compounding. The more they look at it, the more they get into it. I was talking with Kyle before today's show about it. The number's up around 20 at this point, and they're all involved with different parts of science and national security, and space technologies. So it's just a matter of figuring out, or nuclear technologies, where this is and where it's going to take us. I say the longer we get into it, Mike, the more we're going to find. But again, the whole missing people thing reminds me of Lou Elizondo referring people to read The 3-Body Problem, where you have all these scientists all over the place that are all getting eliminated one after the other. And the reason what happened, I believe, was that there was an alien civilization on its way to Earth. By the time that they were going to get there, if those scientists were still alive, we would have had technology to go ahead and be able to take them down. So it's on the opposite side of, it changed something. When you get there, it may not be there. And it's either that or they're just covering up what's heading our way. So let's get into this next video and see where it takes us. Here we go.
10 different people. Have we ever had something like this before, where you have 10 different people all either dying or disappearing, and some of them under oddly similar circumstances, and all of whom have this allegedly top security clearance information about nuclear or space or UFO programs?
Well, not that I can remember, but we make associations now. Things happen a lot quicker with the internet and social media and all the ways that we communicate these days. But this happened before or after World War II. We went aggressively towards the German scientists and the Russian scientists in the area of nuclear power and jet propulsion, and that's exactly where we are now with these missing in some cases deceased scientists, what I can tell you is this. They worked in science and technologies that would be of interest to hostile foreign powers like Russia and China and Iran and North Korea, and even some of our friends like Pakistan and India. They spy on us all the time. They want this technology, and there's an ongoing series of espionage actions taking place behind the scenes on a daily basis. We just don't hear about it because it's deeply classified.
So again, the words deeply classified keep on popping up, but whatever they're working on, it's got to be something that's deep enough to go ahead and, be causing these people to literally be disappeared. Let's see, we've got that one, not that one. Okay, we've got a bunch of different stuff. I'm just trying to get all the stories that I've got here about the scientists. Okay, we've got another one coming in from Fox on this one, talking about the critical secrets, the knowledge they would have had that has gone missing. So let's get to this next clip. Here we go, folks.
An unsettling mystery. At least 10 American scientists, military officials, and associates have been found dead or suddenly vanished. And now some lawmakers are calling for an investigation. Brooke Taylor is live from Dallas with more. I've been sort of following this, but I'm looking forward to your report so I can better understand it.
Hi, Dana. Well, there's definitely a lot of questions surrounding this because at least 10 of those scientists, military officials, and employees, as you mentioned, who are tied to America's most sensitive nuclear and space programs have either just vanished or disappeared in the last few years. So we hope we'll break this down for you. We put this together. The cases span from July 2023 to now. In some, deaths remain unexplained or lack full public detail. In others, sudden disappearances with few answers. So check out some of these cases. Most recently, retired Air Force General William McCaslin vanished in February. He walked out of his Albuquerque home, leaving behind his phone. Previously, he oversaw some of the Pentagon's most advanced aerospace programs. Then check out this case also in February. Astrophysicist Carl Grillmer, who worked closely on NASA missions, was killed outside of his home. Police did arrest a suspect in that case. Then 8 months earlier, U.S. rocket scientist Monica Reza disappeared while hiking in California's Angeles National Forest. Records show she worked on advanced aerospace materials. I spoke to Congressman Eric Burleson, who's calling for an FBI investigation.
Well, these were not ordinary citizens. These are some of the most advanced scientists that are working on some of our most critical nation's secrets. This has all of the hallmarks of a foreign operation. And so this is something that we need to be investigating.
And Dana, so far, no local authority has publicly connected these mysterious deaths and disappearances. We did reach out to the FBI last night, who told us they have no comment.
No comment. Gee, I wonder why, Mike. That always seems to be the answer.
Yeah, because they have no answers, Thomas. That's why.
Yeah.
Obviously.
One of those things, it's a mystery. We'll figure it out maybe eventually. Yeah, a foreign actor. Yeah, what if that foreign actor just isn't from this planet? But they wouldn't be taken out in the way they're being taken out. There's something going on, because there was another one they found. He had left his residence. This happened a couple of years ago. And again, left his phone behind, wiped his devices. When he went to leave, all he was carrying was his handgun. That's all he had with him. There's a pattern there. It's a cover-up, as Tim Burchett would say. Let's get to the next one we get into. All right, got another video to come up here. A bunch of stuff that's happened all this week. All right, so here we've got a short clip of Tim Burchett talking about, well, missing scientists over on the Will Kane show. So this is, been gathering momentum, cool. And it's not slowing down. So let's go ahead and play this clip. It's coming to us from literally the Will Kane show over from the X account. Find this, and we'll get going on this shortly. All right, here we go, folks. Let's kick it off.
There's a circle, and that's why everybody's freaked out over these 10 or 12 scientists that have disappeared or died or whatever, mysteriously. I just think we better start paying attention. we better start paying attention to what's going on in this. They want to keep this secret, whatever it is, and for whatever reason, whether it's zero energy sources or what have you, quantum physics, and that's something that's science. I mean, and I know that sounds crazy. I know people want to think our government, there's people in government that really want to do the right thing. That's not the case with all of them. The vast majority are, but I think there's some string pullers in there that operate kind of within the gray area. There's a circle, and that's why everybody's freaked out over these.
Yep, we are freaked out about it. A lot of people, and it comes into it, who actually picked up on this first? Was it the regular news or anything? No, it was the UFO community who actually found this and started asking questions and diving into it. So we do good things here or there. Let's see what else we've got here. All right. Get to that one with Rob Jones. All right. Even President Trump got in on this as well. Talking about the missing scientists. Hopefully he does the move and he does bring out the truth on this because, hell, we deserve to know. So let's jump into this quick conversation with President Trump before he gets ready to take off in Marine One. So let's play this clip. Here we go, folks.
10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here? And do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff. But we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short time.
10 missing scientists.
So, a week and a half. I guess we have yet another day to put on the calendar and track, Mike.
You're right. But he also gave an indication that it could be unrelated, these 10 different cases.
Right.
So
of course.
We don't know what he's going to come out with in a week and a half, but we'll see.
Yeah. Don't forget, we never got an answer on the drones.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You're well aware of that.
He said, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Right.
And then we had the drones that were flying over the base where we keep our B-52s and other nuclear craft on the East Coast. And what did he talk about? He talked about something completely else, wouldn't even come to addressing that on camera.
No, he would not. So Peter Ducey hits him with some really good questions, but he doesn't always answer. That's the problem.
Right. And if he doesn't answer the question, never know what's going to go. Now, speaking of Peter Ducey, well, we've got a clip of him from one of the recent gaggles. This one was on the 15th, 3 days ago, earlier this week. So let's go ahead and play this next. Peter Ducey asking Carolyn Leavitt about the situation as well. Let's get to it, folks. Here we go. Actually, not that one. I want to play the clip.
There are now 10 American scientists who have either gone missing or died since mid-2024. They all reportedly had access to classified nuclear or aerospace material. Is anybody investigating this to see if these things are connected?
I've seen the report, Peter. I haven't spoken to our relevant agencies about it. I will certainly do that and we'll get you an answer. If true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and administration would deem worth looking into. So let me do that for you.
They're now
all right, so they're going to look into it. No direct answer, of course not, but at least it's being asked. And what I've noticed, Mike, is this conversation is not falling off. It's actually continuing. But really quick, I want to go ahead and thank FaZe Will for the super chat for $50. Holy cow. Thank you very much, FaZe. Will, we appreciate it. And thank you very much. We're a fan-funded program, and it took me by surprise there. Thank you again, my friend. So, Mike, again, same questions. I don't think this story is just going to, be swept under the rug. It's got some legs to it.
It does. But at the same time, we don't know what answers are going to be provided to the public.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see if they actually give us something or not.
Right. But
in the case of McCaslin, I think the 911 call that we played for the audience was very revealing about what was going on.
He had both physical and issues going on
mental
with
issues.
Well, yeah, mental acuity issues, it sounded like, and he did
Well,
not.
he didn't want to live anymore.
He didn't want to live if this is what he's going to have to deal with.
Right. I think it speaks for itself, and we have a pretty good idea of what his outcome is.
Oh, yeah. I would say.
Unfortunately.
We had a survey on this last night, I believe, if memory serves me right. I think it was about 80% of our audience said, yeah, all the scientists, they're not alive, they're dead.
Right.
But
it's
time will
obvious
tell.
at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's right, yeah.
Got on to our next one here. Now, one of the things I wanted to jump into, there's someone new on X. Rob Jones. He's working on news from News Nation. He's their quote-unquote paid ufologist. He's doing work for Reality Check. But with the stuff he's bringing out, I'm not seeing Ross involved with it. So is Ross still involved?
Neither am I. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't believe so. But then again, we've been covering this the entire time. There are reasons for that. And I think this is the natural development of how things have been covered in the past by Ross and now by this new individual, Rob Jones, that I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he brings forward.
I remember you. I remember that picture. I am Sully. Not sure if that's what your username was back then, but I remember there's someone in the chat saying no one remembers her, and I remember her picture at least. All right, let's get into it. So on this one, this is a so there was the rumors going around. Actually, Swan, right, loves to call and bother the reps, Anna Paulina Luna's staffers. He got through, found out some information about what's going on. And Rob here from News Nation actually took that as a tip and actually tracked down Anna Paulina in her office to talk to her about it. So, good thing.
Yeah, interesting.
So let's get onto this. This is just covering about the missed UAP deadline. First post. Chairman Anna Paulina Luna, who leads the House Oversight Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets, said Thursday that she intends to work directly with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to secure the release of the 46 UAP video files requested in her March 31 letter. So there's the files, 31 video files. Because remember, Trump said we're going to release the files. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Here we go. Number 2, and to ensure accountability for the individual responsible for failing to route that letter to the appropriate authorities within the department. The chairwoman described the secretary as a close working partner aligned with President Trump's directive on UAP disclosure, and she said she is confident that cooperation between her and her office and the Pentagon leadership can deliver the requested materials. The chairwoman further indicated that if institutional resistance continues, she is prepared to work with the Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer to exercise the committee's subpoena authority to compel the production of the videos, and stated that the unelected official responsible for mishandling the request should be removed from their position. Now, Mike, all requests about UFOs go through who? The beauty queen.
Susan Goff.
Susan Goff.
Our friend, our buddy,
yeah. Oh, man, that would be one fighting game. We got Anna Paulina Luna versus Susan Goff.
Yeah, but I can tell you already, we know this. We've been covering it since this all began.
Oh, yeah.
There is no fucking way Comer is going to authorize any subpoena power for Luna to pull any of this information out. We know that already. Never going to happen. It's a pipe dream on her part.
Yeah. Well, she can still say it, but at least she does.
Oh, say it. It's never going to happen.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's the case.
Yeah, that is absolutely true, but it's good to see there's a new reporter on the beat. I guess he's been on Gerb's channel in the past several times, so can't wait to see where it all goes.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, potentially he could bring some new information out. I'm not really familiar with him. I know Ross very well. I don't know this new person at all, but maybe he can actually bring something forward. We'll have to wait and see.
Isn't he the one who brought out, he kind of scooped the story on Anna Polina bringing out the 46 UAP videos?
Was he? It might have been. You might be right, Aaron.
No, the request for the 46 videos, that was actually a letter she put off. Was he the one who disclosed it initially?
I think so. That's what X is telling me, or not X, Grok.
Right.
Because I thought there was another guy. I didn't know if it was him or somebody else, but somebody else who asked Caroline Levin about UFOs. Mike Carter from Newsmax.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Carter from Newsmax, Peter Ducey, and this guy seem to be the only mainstream, somewhat mainstream media that are pushing anything on UFOs.
And it's giving Matt Laszlo a run for his money now, literally.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing for us, at least. Not that one. That one's taken care of. Okay, this is just a legacy video. I wanted to show this one. Remember when we had the drone issue going on, Mike? And we had all the drones that were flying over there and people couldn't figure out what it is. This is one of the...
This is a good video. We played this last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Great video that shows the capabilities of what those drones can go ahead and do, but it just shows you the way the wings can reconfigure themselves. They can go from flying forward to hovering in place and being able to go down and land. So this almost looks really similar to some of the, if you want to call some of the night shots we've seen of, you know, the quote unquote drones that were flying over the East Coast. It's great design. And they're based on the East Coast and they have a testing range that's in New Jersey. So, yeah.
Could be. It's an interesting video. Let's play it for the audience.
I'm playing it right now. I can play it with audio, I guess.
Vertical takeoff, and this aircraft can fold its wings like closing a book. Pterodynamics Transwing is an innovative electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft concept that has the potential to revolutionize the field of aviation. The Transwing concept, developed by Pterodynamics, allows the wings to fold up during flight to reduce the aircraft's profile.
The ability to perform VTOL operations allows the transwing to operate in confined spaces, reducing the need for dedicated runways and infrastructure.
This aircraft can fold its wings like closing a book.
There you go. Quick video on it. It's always great to look at the technology, especially when it pops up in my feed.
I love how they're showcasing this great technology, but yet they have a GoPro stuck sideways to the back of it.
Yeah, but this is the XP4. The XP6 and XP9, I believe, are in testing with the U.S. Navy at this point. So this is old technology. Although it looks pretty advanced, it's been around for some time.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of things we don't know about that are out there.
Yeah. And no, this one hasn't been around since the 1980s.
There's your GoPro on the back.
Oh, there you go, yeah. Well, maybe it was cheaper than building the design, and it's a prototype. No, it's not even a prototype. It's one of the working ones, so that maybe that's a official GoPro mount they have on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and continue on and see where we're going next. Let's get to, all right, another one going on McCasland. Let's go ahead and play this one. All right. Actually, this is just 26 seconds long. Yeah, just more people worried about McCasland and what's going on with it.
A researcher named Amy Eskridge was found dead in Alabama in 2022 after she warned that her life could be in danger. She was reportedly working on anti-gravity technology, and this obviously could make her possibly the 11th scientist. At what point does the FBI just stop dismissing these cases as disparate and unrelated and start asking whether there's actually a pattern here?
So, really good question coming from Laura Ingraham from Fox. Again, interesting to see where everything on this goes. I think we can head back towards Disclosure Land. Let's see what else.
Not me. That's Laura Ingraham talking about Amy Eskridge?
Yes.
Yeah, she should leave her fucking family alone at this point. It's already been established that she took her own life on video camera at home. And for them to bring this shit up over and over again is a disservice to her grieving family. I'm pissed off when I see stories like this or trolls covering that story. It's insulting.
Yeah. It is, but she is one of the scientists who supposedly was taken out. She was even talking about having symptoms similar to Havana syndrome. So it's a shame she took her own life and everything, and but she could be part of those numbers. You never know.
I'm just curious on that, Mike. Did she say why she was killing herself?
The thing with Amy Eskridge is that her entire life she's always had drug dependency issues due to undiagnosed medical issues, that she was probably self-medicating with a lot of the drugs and alcohol. And she, from day one, part of the psychoses was that she always told everybody that they were going to find her with a bullet in her head. So she was putting out a self-fulfilling prophecy. And in the end, what happened is she couldn't take the pain that she was feeling physically. And at the end of all of the drugs and alcohol that she had been partaking in for numerous years, she decided late at night to take her personal handgun out on the property's, her family's property, and on closed-circuit TV.
And don't say what happened. But yeah, we just got to be careful on what we say, because different stuff, if we talk about this, it gets us in a black hole.
Okay.
YouTube.
Well, I'm just saying it's something well documented and shouldn't be a question at this point. They should leave her family alone to grieve in peace.
Absolutely. Well, jumping into a different story a little bit more here, we've got a bunch of clips coming up of, what do you call it? Coming up from Dr. Eric Davis. Let me go over to Neanderthal's account, and I think I can get them all in one place. We got 4 clips coming on to us from Neanderthal. Dr. Eric Davis talking about declassified briefings and the legacy UFO programs. These clips should be pretty good to go ahead and listen to. Let's jump into it, folks. Let me find where that goes. All right, video full. Let's get this one brought up, and here we go, folks. Guy knows what he's doing.
In my class. So I met with Dave Gresh, like I said, for 2 to 2.5 days, gave him my classified information, and this was a combination of work I had, research and investigation data I had generated at NIDS during my days at AFRL and during my 15 years with Hal Puthoff. And Dave went with that, and he used his super user status as a security officer to be able to get in and meet with those crash retrieval programs, the peripheral support programs, and get read into those and find out what he reported in his whistleblower complaint to the Inspector General of the intelligence community. And per his later public testimony to the House Oversight Committee. I think that was in 2022. And then I think he had another one. He had a classified briefing either that year or the following year and so forth. So I've been in the back room of all this.
Yes, he has, Mike. And, if there's anyone who they could get under, get an executive order so he could talk about the stuff that he knows and he can talk about it legally, that'd be Dr. Eric Davis.
It would be. And we already know that the information that Dr. Davis had from the Admiral Thomas Wilson memo, that he got direct information as to where the program was, who was running it, and how they were hiding it this entire time. He gave that right to David Grush, who then followed up on it. So he was the man who was the source for this information, and that's what Grush followed up on. And as we know, he hit pay dirt.
Yes, he did.
Absolutely.
And he's going to work for AFRL also, right? So McCaslin, I wonder, did he have any connection with McCaslin at AFRL?
I don't know. He would be able to answer that question.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and play this next clip where he's talking about what we played this one last night as well, talking about information he learned from G.W. Bush. Wasn't he the head of the CIA at one time?
For 1 year.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Let's play this one.
They see the 3 craft, they film it, they notice that one is landing and the other 2 go off. So the one that lands on the tarmac near a high security hangar. And a gangplank came out. So it wasn't a gangplank, it was some sort of an opening. I think it was just an opening close to the asphalt, above the asphalt. And out came what looked like a very tall Caucasian Homo sapiens type guy, big in stature somewhat, and he was wearing, it looked like he had a Homo sapiens face, like an Anglo face, somebody from Europe. People called them the Nordics, so he did look Nordic looking, Swedish, Finnish, Norwegian type, and he had a cover over his mouth and nose, and it was surmised that was a breathing apparatus. Perhaps he couldn't breathe or air. And then he was holding a unusual staff in his hand that was yay long. You can't see it in the screen, but more than a foot long. And he's holding his hand, and it was surmised that was a translator and a vocal language translator. But that's an assumption that he spoke vocally. Could have been he spoke telepathically, but Bush didn't have that information. He wasn't given it. And I couldn't find from any other sources what that staff was doing and why the alien was wearing a mask. So he goes to meet uniformed senior Air Force officers. And then standing among them, I think there's only 3 of them. And standing among them are like 2 civilian clothed or civilian dressed CIA representatives. So they all go off with the alien to the secured hangar, and the security is there out in the door, lets them in, shuts the door, they're standing guard. And that's all that I got out of Bush. What Bush said is, his first question is, you're telling me that 3 non-human ships, craft, were they aircraft? And he was told no, they weren't aircraft. They knew they were spacecraft of some kind, because apparently there were other indications that these came down from space, from high Earth orbit, from Earth orbit on down until they got into the vicinity of the Air Force Base, and then made the land. And then that one made the landing, and the other 2 flew off. So he was told that what had happened was, there was a contact with the group of civilian and uniform Air Force and CIA guys, and then Bush was saying, so what are the records on that? What role do I play with that, or do I have a role with that? He was told about the filming. The helicopter crew filmed everything. They got it all. They got the alien coming out of the craft, walking up on 2 legs, 2 arms, a head, a torso, very humanoid looking, very much Homo sapiens looking. And so he's walking up to the uniformed and civilian clothed personnel, and they go off into that hangar. And Bush asked, well, what was discussed? What was the point of that meeting? This is spectacular. I've never heard of anything like this of a sort. And the liaison officer said, I thought you had already been briefed by your deputy director for intelligence on all that. I thought you knew about it. That's why I'm talking about this with you. And he said, no, I haven't had time to be briefed by all of my by my staff officers.
Well, interesting. So, accidental disclosure, Mike.
Yeah, but you know what? It still is an open book because there's no documentation. There's no proof or evidence. And we would need to see if, in fact, that actually happened, the government records on it. Otherwise, it's just another story you would hear at a typical UFO conference.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It does have that sound to it. But again, if this is some of the stuff that's been going on, bring out the truth. Daryl, your hand is up.
I was just thinking, every time he tells a story, it would be great if they had. Have you seen like these where they document or they animate what the person is speaking, like off to the right? He talks so fast and he tells these wild stories. It's always it would just be like awesome if they would just put that on the side of the screen. Like, here's George Bush talking to these 3 people in the White House, and just to get the sense of what the hell he's talking about, because it's so dramatic. Pretty much everything he says is just out there.
But then again, when the person starts talking about this, you have to go flash forward to the scene at Holloman to see everything that's coming out from the different perspectives. Right. Yeah.
It would be awesome.
Oh, I agree with you completely, my friend. Now, on this next clip we've got coming here is from Eric Davis talking about the information he gave to David Grush and where it got him to where David was able to find the information he was looking for and get first-hand experience to what Davis was talking about. So let's play this next clip. Here we go, folks.
Within my first few months at the Aerospace Corporation, Jay Stratton, who then was the director of the UAP task force at the Office of Naval Intelligence, he met with two individuals at the Space Security Defense Program in Colorado Springs. This group operates skiffs, like a whole suite of different skiffs on an entire floor of the Aerospace Corporation building in Colorado Springs. So basically, Jay had one of these individuals at that organization as a liaison officer for the National Reconnaissance Office on the UAP task force, and that would be David Grush. So,
but did you just catch it? He just mentioned Jay, like Jay Stratton.
Yeah, he's talking about Jay Stratton.
No, he's talking about Grush, but he was. Go back 5 seconds. Here we go.
One of these individuals at that organization as a liaison officer for the National Reconnaissance Office on the UAP task force, and that would be David Grush. So Dave Grush was his liaison officer for the NRO on the task force. And so he informed Grush and his civilian government boss, and I can't name him, at the SSDP, that I had relocated to Huntsville, Alabama to work for the Aerospace Corporation at NASA Marshall Space Flight Center. And so he told them, or he urged them, that in December of 2019 that they needed to meet with me and have me give them classified briefings. So that was arranged in the first week of March, just days before COVID struck. And I flew out to Colorado Springs and gave them about a day and a half to, I think it was roughly 2 days of briefings. And it's from there that Dave Grush went on the yellow brick road to find the Wizard of Oz, using my information. And they also benefited from some briefing information from Hal Puthoff, because Hal and I had been working together ever since our NIDS days, starting in '96. And Hal had been working on all of this even going back to the remote viewing days at Stanford in the early 70s. So it's a combination of information that Hal and I developed independently and jointly on the aspect of the legacy UFO crash retrieval programs that were conducted by a number of the legacy aerospace corporations in the United States, the aerospace defense companies, and in the recovery or captured of downed UFO craft, and in some cases recovered alien bodies, as I'll call them. Today, the big lingo is non-human intelligence, and NHIs. So I call them aliens still. The old-fashioned, being born in 1960, I use the old language of aliens. UFO-nauts, Jacques Vallée's favorite term. So I met with Dave Grush, like I said, for 2 to 2.5 days, gave him my classified information, and this was a combination of work I had research and investigation data I had generated at NIDS during my days at AFRL and during my 15 years with Hal Puthoff. And Dave went with that, and he used his super user status as a security officer to be able to get in and meet with those crash retrieval programs, support programs, and get read into those and find out what he reported in his whistleblower complaint to the Inspector General of the intelligence community. And per his later public testimony to the House Oversight Committee, I think that was in 2022, and then I think he had another one. He had a classified briefing either that year or the following year, and so forth. So I've been in the back room of all this.
Yes, he has. As I let this play in the background on silent, Kyle, your hand's up, my friend.
I haven't been able to find a FOIA for or a DOPSR on Eric Davis, and I filled one out a while back. I'm submitting that shit Monday.
So you filed a FOIA request to try and...
I wrote one, but I haven't submitted it, but it's going in Monday.
Good, you should.
He used to be Mr. I signed an NDA and wouldn't say anything, and then the last 9 months, year, he's been chatty Cathy about everything.
You know, I would have to say his conversations that he's been having as a chatty Cathy for the last year probably have not been cleared with DOPSR.
Yeah, that would be something.
Yeah.
That would be something, but at least we'll know. That's,
He's kind of in a role right now where he'd be asking for forgiveness, because if he knew if he asked it for permission, he wouldn't get anywhere.
Or somebody's telling him to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we were bringing this up before. You've been doing a lot of on the show earlier today in the chat and stuff. You've been doing a lot of research on these missing scientists and stuff. We talked about this before the show. What is your head count up to at this point? Is it around 20?
Depends on how far back you want to go. The ones that have been of particular interest to me were involved in deep space observation. These are the astronomers, not the guys that sit around and watch monitors and eat pizza and drink pop. These are guys that developed specific viewing technology. One in particular, the most interesting, is this ALMA sub-millimeter radio telescope that they use to identify material and what these space objects are composed of. It always starts when they look for planets or objects. They see a star, and they'll call it a pulsating star. That's something moving in front of it, making it flicker. And there was one that was reported in the media, and it was Tabby star. Okay, so they hit it with what was it? Near spec. I think it was near spec infrared for a signature. They reported to the media that there was debris around it, and it was similar. It was just a regular planet, similar to Saturn, having a ring from a debris field that was similar to Saturn. Meanwhile, they hit it with that new sub-millimeter radio telescope. They have those located. Two main observatories. ALMA is the ALMA, who the co-developer of it, Koichiro Morita, was murdered in a street robbery, and then a few days later, you had I think it was Tom Marsh. He goes to the La Silla Observatory in Chile. They have a sub-millimeter array. He disappears. They find him 55 days later with no shirt on in a ditch 5 kilometers from the observatory.
Was he alive or dead?
He was dead. Dead as a doornail.
Interesting.
The family couldn't get a cause of death from the medical examiner. They petitioned for it. This is 2022. And this year, 2022 keeps coming up.
Interesting as much.
And so Lucilla was able to view it. He's found dead. The family finally gets they put in a request and finally got a closed court hearing for the cause of death. And they wouldn't make it public. Then you have Space Force. Space Force goes into Hawaii and starts this helioscope project, which is another sub-millimeter array.
Yeah, and there's something out there, definitely. Let's circle back on this in a little bit, if we can.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll pick up on the stuff going on in Hawaii next. All right, I got another clip here, folks. Of Eric Davis claims David Grush used classified information from briefings with himself in order to find the legacy UFO programs. We have played these in reverse order, but let's get to this one. Here we go, folks.
So I met with Dave Grush, like I said, for 2 to 2.5 days, gave him my classified information, and this was a combination of work I had, research and investigation data I had generated at NIDS during my days at AFRL and during my 15 years with Hal Puthoff. And Dave went with that, and he used his super user status as a security officer.
Okay, wait a minute. This is just a recap of what we saw earlier. Sorry about that, folks. It was just something that fell over it. Well, one thing I want to pop out, we've been watching aliens.gov. We've been keeping our eyes on the website, and it has gone from error name not resolved to error site not found. So now if you go to aliens.gov and you tell it to go ahead and go to the site, they still don't have a secure certificate on the site. So your browsers are going to say, I don't want to go there. It's not secure. But if you do, you're going to get an answer as far as seeing that the infrastructure for that particular site is coming in place. I guess we just need those 46 files from Luna coming from the DOD or wherever they're going to potentially come from. All right, let's see what else we've got going on here in it. All right, so, all right, jumping back on, we were just talking a second ago about, out here. Okay, so here we've got, let's go with this one, Annapolina Luna from yesterday, talking with Matt Laszlo from Askapol. So let's see what Annapolina has to say about those 43 missing files and where or the files that she was supposed to get and how she takes it. Because remember, for the longest time, she had cut Matt Laszlo off and wouldn't talk with him at all. So let's hear what she has to say.
Moskowitz said he wouldn't mind hearings into...
I want to do the 10 scientists. That's crazy.
What the hell is up with that?
I have no idea. I've been flagging it for a while. I think after the 6th scientist went missing, I posted about it, so it's obviously serving.
I know there's chatter that the CIA might be the ones blocking your UAP investigation.
No, I don't think the CIA is blocking it because you heard the directive. We've been working and having conversations with all the powers that be. So I think it's lower left tier.
Moskowitz said he wouldn't mind.
Here we go. They're saying CIA is not blocking. Mike, do you agree with that? I don't trust the CIA.
Not as far as we can throw them. They have been involved in this subject since Roswell back in 47 and the National Security Act in 47 and the formation of the CIA in 47.
And so it's in 47 and it's after Roswell. Short amount of time after Roswell.
Yeah. So listen, they've had their hand in this the entire time. And we also know Glenn Gaffney and George Knapp testified under oath before Congress on that, blocked the transfer of materials from Lockheed under the control of the CIA over to Bob Bigelow. So, yeah, of course they're blocking this the whole time. No, I don't believe a word of that, Thomas.
No. Cannot be trusted. We'll just say that. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. We've got that one we've covered. All right. Did you hear that actually the evening of the 16th, the morning of the 17th, middle of the night, the House of Representatives tried to boonswoggle Representative Tim Burchett and renew FISA in the middle of the night?
Oh, did it work?
No, they caught it. And the Republicans came in and they prevented it from happening. Is this the one here? No, that's not the one. I've got one of Tim Burchett talking about this in a little more detail. See if I can find that one. Maybe further up. I remember him walking outside of it and he talked about it. Not there. Yeah, there's a lot of videos out there, folks, we haven't gotten to yet. We'll circle back on that one. All right, so Tim Burchett has been out there. Not Tim Burchett, I'm sorry. Jeremy Corbell has a new movie getting ready to come out.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
And some interesting things are going on with it. Actually, Corbell has been given a trove of classified files. That's what this movie's about. Apparently, Mike, he's been going and keeping everything secret and not bringing out the truth and sharing it with everybody. Why? Because he wants to go ahead and bring it out in a pay-for-play movie. Good for him. Because remember, what is his primary job besides being a realtor? He's a director/producer, right? He likes to promote stuff.
Yeah, I think Gene has a really good opinion about that. If he wants to share it with us again about Corbell and this information, please, Gene, be my guest. Share your thoughts on this.
Well, thanks for having me. I see him again positioning himself as this champion of the truth, of transparency. He's making all these calls. He's, making the demands of the politicians. that what they have needs to come out, and the public deserves the truth. Yet he sits there and says, George and I have the information that if it were out there would blow the lid off of disclosure, that it's so sensitive, it's so revealing that it's their dead man trigger. If anything happens to them, then this information is going to come out. You know, it's a lot of bullshit, right? You can't, how can you sit there, number one, as supposedly an investigative journalist whose job it is to investigate and report on the things you find in those investigations. Yet instead of doing that, you're going to keep it for yourself, and you're just going to tell the government, you know, okay, tell me what you have, you know, show everybody what you have. I already know, but go ahead and show me what you have. It doesn't, you know, that's not how it goes, right?
You mean turning it into a pay-per-view event, Gene?
Right. And the thing about it is, you know, in a sense, that's almost extortion of the government, number one. Number two, he's not a cleared individual. George Knapp's not a cleared individual. So, you know, what is this information? What is this, these videos and photo, whatever it is that you have, obviously doesn't come from any classified space if you are holding the materials, because if it was, then why hasn't the FBI raided your home to get those materials back? Which means they're either not classified, or they're not groundbreaking, or you're just full of shit altogether, is the other most likely option. And you're just playing this game, trying to act like you're a government agent in, you know, what you have over the head. And it goes back, you know, there's almost a pattern to it now that's becoming suspicious, because the more George Knapp talked about his Russia trip, and the more questions, the more he talked about it, the more questions actually come out of it, right? Because again, you're an investigative journalist, and your news station funds a trip for you to go to Russia, where you bring back this groundbreaking information about the Russian UFO programs. It's the 1990s. The United States government is essentially calling everybody who, you know, publicly at least, anyone asks anything about UFOs, right? They're calling them a crackpot. Yet you come back from your business trip funded by your television station with Russian UFO documents. You can't tell me you didn't anticipate that the things were going to be in Russian, and you're probably going to need to have them translated. And so you probably had that set up somewhere already to at least have an idea of what's in them. But for some reason, your decision as a journalist is to hand the documents over to the United States government, which you've just spent the last 5 years or so doing stories on, about how they're covering up the whole UFO thing. But for some reason, it seems logical as an investigative journalist to hand those documents over to the government.
Right. And don't forget, he did hand them over finally recently to Burleson. But then Burleson said, we're going to go through this and bring it out, but there still hasn't been that localized release, I believe, from Congress itself. So something there just is fishy to me.
They were supposed to make it public. Burleson said he would move to have it made public, and it never followed through on it.
And Lukatsky's, I don't know if you caught it, Thomas, when I highlighted it on X. In Lukatsky's last interview with him, it almost seems like Lukatsky is now, after they've spent from September of last year at least, never mind the 30 years before where George was spending 30 years teasing his Russian UFO documents, essentially. All of a sudden, September of last year, they're such a priority that they need to be testified to in front of Congress. It inspires the relaunch of Mystery Wire on his local channel, and he's going to make a big coverage out of that. And now you have Lakatsky almost seemingly trying to scale back the importance and relevance of the Thread 3 documents in that interview, in the last interview with Corbell and Knapp, and where he outright lied about, he either lied then or Knapp lied before Congress, and the story that they've been telling since '93 about OSAP and the relevance of these documents has been lied about before that.
I don't like the fact that they want to turn this into a pay-per-view event. Oh, we have the truth, we have the goods, but you have to pay if you want to see it. That's a credibility killer in my book. What do you think, Thomas?
Oh, yeah, but we get the same thing coming from James Fox and everything. Not only is Corbell an investigative reporter, he also is a movie producer. So, he's competing with himself to find the stuff. Should he bring it out? And as to Gene's point about him, if he does necessarily, even though as a journalist, possess this information and it's a violation, I hate to say the words, of national security, the federal government has the ability to come in, ransack his house, and take anything, all of his technology away to retrieve the information that they would consider stolen because it's not been properly declassified and released.
I just agree. I think I think it's just utterly disgraceful that as a journalist, this is the outlet that you're teasing that it's going to come. Go on Georgia's local news station. Let them get an Emmy for. But no, you trying to monetize it. It doesn't sit right. It's a big fraud. And God help them. God help them today. I have a forum in front of them face to face, and they and everybody in that crowd is going to get it laid out for them specifically.
Yeah.
Telling you right now.
There's historical facts, Gene, to back that up. Your point is correct. If you are, in fact, an investigative journalist pursuing the truth, back in the 70s, Daniel Ellsberg was a whistleblower, came forward with the Pentagon Papers. Daniel Sheehan took their ass to the Supreme Court, fought the federal government on the national security points about the Pentagon Papers, and won. Right. And then the New York Times wrote an article on it, and all the truth came out that the government didn't want the public to know at that time about the Vietnam War. It could be done.
Yeah, and I came from a time, in Boston as a kid. I remember there was a married couple on our local Boston news station who had broke a story, and the government was trying to the Mass State government was trying to strong arm them into revealing their sources, and was even threw them in jail. And they were like, no, we've released the evidence. We're not releasing the source. We'll go to jail for it.
Right.
And that ultimately got fought as well. So, these are not stand-up people. These are not investigative journalists. These are not men of integrity or journalists of integrity. And he can wear all the muscle shirts that he wants, but he's a coward.
Absolutely. Because Thomas and I had run-ins with the U.S. Congress about sources that we've been working with, and told them to go fuck themselves. And there wasn't anything they could do about it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's if you want to go the route of bringing the truth out, you can do that, not turn it into a pay-per-view event, because that's just a credibility killer. Everything we bring out, Thomas and I here on the show, and you as well, Gene, we don't get paid for that. We do it because we believe in what we're doing, and that the public has a right to know, and that's what it's supposed to be about. But it doesn't seem like Knapp or Corbell are coming from that perspective, are they, Gene?
No, it's their last ditch effort before, it's their last swipe at the cash register before some other form of disclosure comes out from the government, and they're made irrelevant because they don't produce anything original anyway. They just replicate stories. They take others people's work and amplify that. They haven't actually investigated anything themselves. And then, Corbell's just a credibility launderer, credential launderer to begin with anyway. And I think he knows the writings on the wall. And once the government comes out with what they come out, there'll be their people and their experts that they want to bring forward. And a lot of these figures are so tainted that, you know, they won't want them anywhere near the mainstream discussion. And they're, you know, and then he'll just have to reinvent himself again and go back to his shitty mixed media art.
And you know who's been saying this publicly since 2017? Lou Elizondo. He said eventually, when the truth does come out from the government, a lot of the known figures that are out there publicly that have been putting all their horse shit out nonstop, he said when that truth comes out, these people are going to be seen for what they are and what they've been putting out there the whole time. He's right. If we do get that executive order and they declassify these files and the truth does eventually come out, we're going to know who's full of shit and who isn't.
So, you know, point. Like the person, DC Muscle, who's been out there, Greer, going ahead and saying all the UFOs we're seeing are our own ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles, and that all the aliens are good. And that just doesn't align with a lot of the evidence that we've seen.
And Greer, you know, Greer's another. If you look at, you know, again, pull the yoke back, get up to 100,000 foot view, and look at time frame. All this is begin to go into motion since Trump's announcement. So you can see there is this battle going on between them to be the most relevant one on the day that something perhaps drops, so that they're the one that, you know, gets the airtime. You know, that it's their theory that gets to go forward to be, they're jockeying for position. And Greer, you look at the interviews that he's been doing, he's reaching out to a new audience, one that, you know, already isn't aware or deeply engaged in the issue. And so that's why you see him going to some, you know, other avenues to reach new audiences. It's why we see, you know, Logan Paul suddenly in the UAP space, calling Bob Lazar the OG, and you know, he's got the video and that.
You mean Logan Paul, the same guy who thinks the moon landings were fake?
Yeah, you know, and that coincides with the documentary coming out. It's laughable.
Yeah,
it is. This whole, I mean, this is the entertainment side, I guess, of ufology, and the people who are entertainers are just really, they are distinguishing themselves, but not in a good way at all, and not in a serious way. It's almost desperation.
Well, here's the good news. When the truth does finally come out, and I believe eventually it will, Greer's up close and personal $25,000 spaghetti dinners are going to be a thing of the past. That'll go away permanently after that.
Yep.
All about
well, there'll be a period of them reframing everything they've said over the last, you know, 30 plus years to try and fit whatever doesn't fit with what they've been saying, which I imagine is going to be quite a bit.
Ina, I got to ask a question for you. It's been bugging me. This is just my ADD going ahead, focusing on what did you do to your camera? It's a lot better. Anything?
Oh, there's a whole thing going on. There's a whole rig up system here.
Oh, you got lighting in the whole bit and updated your camera a bit. Nice.
Yeah. I got inspired. I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know if we've talked to you. You've seen it. You know, we've got a documentary about the book.
Oh, nice.
In post production right now, so hopefully we'll have some announcements about that soon coming out.
Yeah.
And over the course of doing that, working with, you know, the production team, I saw all sorts of new gear and fun stuff to buy. So that was
well, it's noticeable, at least from my eyes. It's a major upgrade. Yeah, I'm running on an FX30. Actually, to get my video, I actually shoot it at 4K, but then I bring it into OBS and I actually do a downscaling, which gives you a much higher, great looking image. I mean, yours is just phenomenal. Thanks for sharing the info. All right. Kyle, you had your hand up for a while. Sorry about the delay.
I was just, you took too long. I was going to say, as the founder of Quantum Jiu-Jitsu, Jeremy Corbell's okay in my book.
Okay, cool. So talking about Corbell, we had a lot to say about him. We've got two video clips, dueling video clips with the same stuff on the bottom here. One coming from UAP James, the other one coming from Red Panda. Let's go ahead and play these two clips of News Nation talking about the UFO files, and then talking about his upcoming movie, which on the next one, which sounds very interesting. Let's jump into it, folks. Here we go.
Tonight, like literally right before we came on the air, President Trump says he's directed the Pentagon Secretary Pete Hegseth to release the UFO files. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that President Trump he probably got exposed to these videos kind of in real time. So the fact that he is asking for Pete Hegseth to put those videos out to the public needs to see these videos. I have been exposed to a number of them. In fact, as you know, Elizabeth, I released video number 2 with George Knapp. We obtained and released that video of a UAP filmed by our military. It was in Syria, 2021. It was filmed by a Reaper drone. It's not what you're showing on screen right now, but it demonstrated instantaneous acceleration, and that was their determination, their examination of this UAP. So I really hope that President Trump, I know he means it, so we need the Pentagon to do what he said, release those 46 videos to the public, not just to Congress, so they can tell us about this extraordinary technology.
There you go, that one. And now getting into a little bit more, talking about a clip, it looks like, coming from his upcoming movie called Sleeping Dogs. So let's see how this one goes. Back to the start, and let's play it. Here we go, folks.
Where is this from? It's from Los Alamos National Laboratory.
Your dad died, right?
He did. He passed away about a month ago.
I'm sorry to hear that. My dad died too. What was your dad's position, and why do we find this interesting?
He was in charge of all computer and cybersecurity for the entire laboratory.
Sleeping Dog will be released on May 12th, but joining us tonight is investigative journalist and documentary filmmaker Jeremy Corbell. He's also co-host of the Weaponized podcast. Jeremy, congrats. Great to talk to you. Again, the clip, you're talking to the son of a former official who was in charge of cybersecurity at Los Alamos. He had a treasure trove of UFO files. What was in them?
Yeah, well, look, this is not unusual for me. I've kind of become the clearinghouse for people that have sensitive information regarding UAP. And sometimes when people pass away, you know, their family members do reach out to me. So in this movie, which I did not make, by the way, this movie was made by Michael Lazowski. This movie is really about journalism. It's about First Amendment. It's about freedom of speech.
Okay.
And in those documents was absolute proof that the government has independently been studying the UFO phenomenon for decades, looking at and covering up the fact that they're looking at the origin of these craft and the pilots themselves.
I'm being told that by our control room that we are completely out of time. So this is what you call a tease. Jeremy, I'm begging you. You have to come back on the show.
There you go. Excellent, excellent. Now, you know, just going through, good to hear Jeremy's got a movie coming out. Hopefully the more information we're going to get on this, the better. Now, doing a quick refresh of my Twitter feed. There's a bunch of new stuff that just popped out. I guess we could call it breaking a UFOs alert. Let's get into this next one. I guess Matthew Sullivan, hopefully, maybe he was was Matthew Sullivan on your list, Kyle? You're on mute.
The list I put out was from March 31st. It's pretty old.
Okay. So let's get into this. We're talking about Matthew Sullivan, who was preparing to testify as a UFO whistleblower with the help of David Grush just before his suspicious death. They say Representative Eric Burleson says Grush contacted Sullivan, a former deputy director of the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, also known as NASIC, at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to testify. And remember, NASIC, all information that goes to ARO, a copy of it is also sent across to NASIC. Quote, he was certainly someone who was read into the highest classification levels and knew some of our nation's most important secrets. And I think this takes us back to this particular clip we played last night in detail of Representative Eric Burleson talking about this. So let's get to it. Here we go, folks.
Eric Burleson, who is calling for the FBI to get involved. Congressman, when did you first find out about this?
My office found out about it last year. We sent a letter to the FBI about a gentleman named Matthew Sullivan, who actually we had reached out to. He was scheduled to come in for an interview. Within 2 weeks, he had suspiciously committed suicide. That report was referred to the Office of Inspector General. They deemed it credible and urgent. They then referred it to the FBI. So this is not the first that we've heard of this. That was the first that we became aware of. When I first came in, I heard of another gentleman, and I'll keep that name out of respect. I sent a letter to the FBI investigating the suspicious suicide of another individual who had worked alongside, other whistleblowers like David Grush and Jake Barber who had come forward. So their colleague is mysteriously committed suicide. We've already sent the letter to the FBI to investigate that, and that is an ongoing investigation.
There we go. Andy, your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Boeing whistleblowers.
Yeah.
What
the
happened
ones
to
who,
them?
commit suicide right before the stuff's about to hit.
Yeah, it's a bit suspect, isn't it?
You would think?
Yeah.
I'd have to agree, my friend. Trying to
Yeah.
see what else we've got here. All right. We've got a clip coming from Newsmax. I believe this is posted 10 hours ago. I believe this is relatively recent. Let's scroll on to this next one. This missing scientist thing is not going away, not even close to it. So let's get past that down here. Okay, coming to us, Newsmax, talking about the White House and what they're going to be going on about the declassification, finding out what happened to these scientists. Let's get into it, folks. Yeah, this story really has legs, more than I would think it normally would. But, the public and, more importantly, D.C. is very interested in what's been going on. And I think we deserve to know. Here we go, folks.
Foldy, I'm coming to you, my friend, because I know you have this obsession with UFOs. But I read something online today that these scientists weren't just involved in UFO stuff. I heard that they were also involved in nuclear technology.
So I'm a long-standing believer in aliens, in part because of listening to Joe Rogan. And if you want to look at the opposite and say that there are no aliens.
Talking about Joe Rogan really quick. He's been an advocate for going ahead and have the legalization going for psychedelic drugs, and I believe there was an executive order passed on that. This actually signed off on that this morning. Well, we didn't get one for UFOs yet. We got a equivalent to a tweet. We got something to go ahead and get there for psychedelics for good treatment. Great options. Let me just play the rest of it. Here we go.
Aliens, I can point you to Fermi's paradox, which states that the odds are so high that there is alien life. And yet we haven't seen it. But I actually solved Fermi's paradox because we have aliens living among us. Gavin Newsom, lizard person, is for sure one of them. I don't think he is responsible for these deaths and disappearances, but he is proof of extraterrestrial life.
Gabriella, what do you think is going on here? Do you think it's suspicious, or are these guys just disappearing?
The one scientist in particular, Nuno, the Portuguese gentleman who was killed, the fusion expert, tragically by his former classmate or someone who was aggrieved by or jealous over the technology and stuff he was working on. But I can't really speculate as to the others. I had heard that a couple of them.
Wait, what's the fun in that? It's like the first South Park episode about this.
But three, I was listening on the radio. I think I was listening to Chris Plant actually talk about this radio morning. And he was talking about how 3 of the 10 or so had mysteriously left their phones home, went on a hike and a walk, and told their spouses that they kind of have this mental fog. So something is weird.
This
maybe
is a risk
China,
for
Russia.
Great Outdoors Month.
It is a risk. Perhaps, I think maybe what's plausible is maybe Russia, China, and some of our adversaries have gotten to them, maybe blackmailed them if they're competing for certain technology, if it's nuclear or something else of that matter. So we might see an adversary connection if there is something nefarious tied to it.
Yeah, it's absolutely, these people just disappearing is totally crazy, Alex. Do you think it's tied to the UFOs or?
Look, my take on aliens has always been, I don't believe in them for the time being because I don't think Trump would have kept it a secret for this long. I think he would have brought it up at a rally at some point, said they voted for him or something like that.
It's the strongest argument against him. Yeah, it's the only one.
Pretty persuasive, right?
Well, go ahead.
No, just my last point. This is one of those stories, and we were talking about this in the break. It really perplexes me. I mean, I like to think I've been in this industry long enough where I can make sense of most of the stories even before they're kind of figured out. I don't know what to think of this one, and it's a little bit scary.
10 people just disappearing or dying it just doesn't happen. It's so tough to disappear. But you heard from the president and the White House press secretary about the missing UFO scientists. But will we ever get to the bottom of this mystery? Newsmax took to the streets to find out.
Lawmakers are calling for an investigation into this. Do you trust the government to get to the bottom of it?
I'm not really trusting of the government to do anything right now.
Have you ever seen anything the government does? No, I don't trust them for anything.
No. Why not? It's too scary.
No, because it's a lot of times where the government covers up things to make them look good at the end of the day. We've been able to see that, especially these past 2 years, especially through the Epstein files.
Yes, I definitely trust the government. Okay. I think that this government's definitely one of the more trustable ones.
I feel like the government is a ton of sinful people, and it's hard to know who to put your trust in.
Do you think Americans will ever learn the truth about what happened to them one way or the other?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Because those people will disappear as well.
Jason, this isn't really a partisan issue, but I've heard a lot of really cool theories about UFOs. Father Chad Ripperger has been doing a bunch of interviews. He's one of the extras for the Vatican. He thinks that they're demons, that there's a lot of the weird stuff that they do when they abduct people, weird experiments. It rhymes with the stuff he sees in exorcisms. But I've also heard all the theories about how these are government technologies. What's your take? Or what's your favorite conspiracy, I guess?
My favorite conspiracy? So first of all, I think we can talk to one particular alien. His name is Space God. If you look him up on Instagram, he's an actual alien and says a lot of interesting things. But in all seriousness, I kind of agree with a lot of those people. And it's sad that here in America, we can't trust our government, no matter who's at the head of it. You can't trust them to necessarily tell you what's happening or what's going on. And I think that woman, I believe, who said, the Epstein files are kind of proof of that. I can totally identify with that. Like, we're not going to find out the truth about a lot of these issues. As far as like one of our adversaries, I think if we were ahead of the game, they would just kind of surveil and try to get ahead of us. Like, why would they kill these guys and stop the progress rather than watch and then learn and then try to emulate
abduct
that?
them to work for them, subvert them.
Oh, if they've been abducted, then that's the case. But these people have died, right?
They're died or missing. We don't really know.
There you go. It's always a perplexing situation looking at. But if there was a reason they didn't want these scientists to finish their jobs and they wanted to stop it, we're in a situation, Andy, that it could be the case where if it is a foreign actor, not necessarily from this planet, they don't want Earth's technology to get to a certain point. Best way to stop it is to stop the scientists.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I'd like to know how they're finding these scientists. How do they come on their radar? They must be.
Right, because the work they're doing is totally top secret. No one necessarily really knows what they're going on. But if we're dealing with a non-human intelligence, they could actually maybe monitor what's going on. Their technology far exceeds even what we think is a reality.
Yeah, definitely. If it's human non-state actors, McCasm retired 13 years ago. You would expect whatever information he has is old news. I would consider in this now that it would have superseded him. Whoever's taken on his role and however many people have been in charge since he left, they would be far more clued in, I would have expected, than he would be. So, yeah. Strange.
Daryl, your hand's up.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's familiar much with that Matthew Sullivan thing because I wasn't. But just doing a little research, I didn't realize that the ICIG, the Intelligence Community Inspector General, deemed the allegations credible and urgent and involving serious allegations of misconduct and potentially unlawful activities that pointed to the death not being a suicide. And then that case was then referred to the FBI. So for a year, this has kind of been going on, it looks like. And anyway, it's just, I had no idea. And Grush was apparently reportedly extremely distraught by the death because he was trying to help him come forward. So at least there's something there, that the FBI is looking at that we're all aware of, and we can push the FBI to give us an answer on. Hopefully Peter Doocy and anybody else will do that.
Yeah, I hear you completely. One of those things we want to get to the bottom of it, want to get the truth out there. And great observation, Daryl.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Now, I guess we brought up Amy Eskridge before. Even News Nation's reporting on it, about some of the stuff she was involved in. Let's go ahead. We got a short news clip we played last night. Let's bring this one up and get into it. Here we go, folks.
This is the one with the strange camera focusing. Right there.
There we go. Just make her a bit smaller. Go out of the background because we don't need that anymore. It's hard when you want to try and show something, but it's been recorded in portrait. It makes it more difficult. So here we go. Let's play it.
Just before her death in 2022, Amy Eskridge had announced plans to present her groundbreaking work in anti-gravity technology. The 34-year-old had been openly experimenting in the field and founded a research company called the Institute for Exotic Science to establish a more public space for developments in anti-gravity work. Her death from a supposed self-inflicted gunshot wound has long been questioned since she had expressed fearing for her life at the time. She worked closely with her father. According to NASA, Richard Eskridge is a retired engineer whose many projects included novel work on a system to propel spacecraft with high-speed plasmoids. In speaking with him, Eskridge dismissed any link between the death of his daughter to the 10 other scientists who've mysteriously died or gone missing over the past few years. All had links to government secrets and programs tied to military defense and UFOs. Richard Eskridge did not want to be interviewed, but he told me on the phone, scientists also die just like other people. Nonetheless, suspicion abounds.
So, yeah,
suspicion my ass. They should leave that man the fuck alone and his family. It's ridiculous that they're beating a dead horse like this over and over again for clicks. It really pisses me off.
Well, it's not. This is probably covered as well on News Nation on air as well.
It's completely ridiculous, Thomas. You and I are very well versed in this situation with Eskridge. There's no reason they should be beating this to death and trying to tie it all into other things that are completely unrelated.
Yeah.
And they really needed to hear her father tell them exactly that. Like they really don't have enough common sense to realize that on their own. It's insulting, is what it is. I'm really pissed about coverage like this. It's for no reason. What happened with her is unfortunate. She was not working directly on anti-gravity. That was something that was his specialty for NASA. And she was very good at getting support financially. She wrote proposals. She schmoozed. She was very good at making connections for the newfound business, getting people to fund money into it. That's primarily what she did. There's no mystery here. None of it. This has nothing to do with what they're trying to make it out to be. And it's highly insulting.
Yeah.
Leave that poor family alone. They've suffered enough with her mental instability and her physical issues. It's terrible. It's a tragedy. But it's not something that should be promoted to get clicks or tie it into things that are completely and totally unrelated, like General Neil McCaslin, who had mental issues, physical issues. He talked about his wife about killing himself. That is self-evident. It speaks for itself. This has nothing to do with Amy Eskridge, nothing to do with the facts, none of it. And every time they keep trying to tie it all in together, it just really pisses me off, in case you couldn't tell.
Oh, I can tell, Mike. And I thought I even had, I could have sworn in my bookmarks there was one of Amy's presentations that she was given on this.
Right.
If I can find this in the top of my bookmarks, go all the way to the top of it, see if I can bring this up. Nope, it's not here. Gone. All right.
It's okay. It'll come back. We'll cover it in another time.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Mike. Wow, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff moving forward. If it continues,
and a lot of bullshit out there as well, which we always point out.
Oh yeah, We try to, Mike. We try to, bring the latest news out. And there's a lot of stuff going on. And if it continues to go on and take off with the public's interest on this, we may have to get back on the drone schedule again.
Well, if we have something coming from the current administration and declassifying a lot of these files and information, we'll absolutely be covering it full time.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've got that feeling again about what's coming our way, and take it as we see it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we're going to hope for the best and prepare for the worst, like always.
Oh, gosh, yes. I think we about covered everything today, Mike. Is there anything we haven't touched on?
Not that I'm aware of, Thomas.
Yeah. All right, on that note. Happy Saturday, everybody. How about that? We made it through another day.
We did, and we got a lot of super chats, and we had Gene joining us, and Daryl, and Andy, and good conversation.
Speaking of the super chats, I want to go ahead and thank our audience for some support today. We got two in. One from Scott Jensen starting it off tonight with Let's Go Donald Trump for UKPM. Yeah, that would be a good upgrade for you guys. And we got FaZe Will throwing on $50. How about that? I want to thank everybody for your love and support of what we do on Disclosure tonight. More importantly, I want to thank Mike. Thank you, and everyone else in the back, Gene and everybody, for stopping in today. Thanks to the audience for being here. We're here for you.
Yep.
Try to be, at least.
That was my pleasure. It was a fun conversation tonight.
Absolutely. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, remember, the chat is still up. It will be going for hours. So if you want to join the conversation after the conversation's already there, you know where to go ahead and go to. And on that note, as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. See you soon. Take care now.